What's going on, guys? Welcome into Mock Draft 2.0 for SportsLink Exchange. We got my buddy Will here. I'm gonna do another mock draft where he has the even picks, I have the odd picks. We're about 3.5 hours into free agency, so a lot of the big names are signed now. We saw the combine, and it's just gonna give us a lot more information into what teams are actually gonna need or want with the draft. So to
It
get
all
this
happened real
thing,
fast.
yeah, season or off season's going by real quick right now.
Yeah.
So, number one pick. This seems like the most obvious pick in the whole draft. Everyone has Caleb Williams going to the Bears. I don't really see him doing
Yep.
anything else with the pick. Pretty straightforward. Generational prospect.
Yep. Yep. I think another easy pick here for the Commanders. I think they're going to go Drake May just to fill the quarterback position. So Drake May, the Commanders.
Yeah, he's young. He's rated pretty similar to Caleb Williams, so they're both gonna
Yeah, I think
stud.
he's one of the more pro-ready quarterbacks in college right now. So
Yeah, he played a lot better
now I think
defenses
they
than
could.
Caleb too.
Now don't be shocked if they go Marvin Harrison if they do want to stick out with Sam Howell.
I won't be shocked if they go Jaden Daniels either.
True. Yeah.
It's just Drake May's got two more years because he's 2 years younger. So,
Yep.
all right, Patriots here. They just traded away Mac Jones, so the thought process was they would give Mac Jones another year, go Marvin Harrison Jr., but that doesn't really seem like it's a very
Yep.
viable option now. They have to go quarterback, and the
Yep.
top three in this draft are pretty straightforward, so they're going to have to go Jaden Daniels here to the Patriots. I think they would be have a preference to Drake May, but Jaden Daniels gonna develop pretty nice there too.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit for the new scheme that's coming in there. So
Yeah.
and obviously Heisman winner. Why not?
Yep.
That makes a pretty easy pick for the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison Jr., stud receiver. Mm, Easy pick there.
Yeah, Cardinals want nothing more than to have a wide receiver one. So, and I've seen he
Yep.
has comps to Larry Fitzgerald. So imagine another Larry Fitzgerald type guy ends up in Arizona. That would be kind of nice.
Believe it when I see it.
Chargers here seems like a pretty big trade back option. Um,
Yeah.
they have quite a few needs, not a lot of salary cap. They need offensive line pretty bad to protect Justin Herbert here. They also need DBs, so I think there's some good options here. And I feel like every year there's this DB that goes top 10 that everyone's like, why, how? But I mean, NFL just, they view DBs a lot higher than we do. And after the combine, I just think Quinion Mitchell going to the Chargers, gonna lock some boys
Ooh.
up. Quinion Mitchell gonna sneak into the top five in this mock.
Wow. Wow.
Every year I feel like there's a top five DB and just nobody expects it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
But word. It's fine in here. Quinion Mitchell. I mean, he had a great time at the Senior Bowl, and really his film and his tape looks really good. So, I mean,
He's
I could definitely see him going in the top 15. I think the Chargers have a lot of needs. They really can't go wrong. So,
like I said, they're a trade back candidate. If they could like trade back to
yeah,
like 11 through 15 and draft Quinion, I think they'd love to. But
yeah,
I just feel every year there's just a DB or two that goes way higher than anyone expects, and I haven't seen
yeah,
any mock drafts really with DBs in the top 10. So
yeah.
it's gonna make
And
things
the poor
interesting.
Giants, the poor Giants lost Saquon this morning.
To the
They're
Eagles,
in,
bro, the division
yeah,
rival.
that's even worse. He's gonna run
Saquon
all over
jerseys are
him.
gonna be burned across the state today.
Well, dude, I think they did that just in case the tush push was outlawed. They had to put some more quads back there in the backfield.
Saquon behind that O line is gonna be nasty, bro.
That's gonna be unfair.
Yeah,
Just mark my words, they're going to rush for the most yards in the NFL next year.
probably. Yeah.
So, with that being said, I think they need a wide receiver. Um, but there's also the candidate of possibly getting Brock Bowers. However, not happening. Malik Neighbors is going to the Giants.
Yeah, they need a wide receiver one bad. I could also see them going O
Yep.
line to try and protect Daniel Jones, but like their
Yeah.
first round offensive linemen have not really panned out the last couple of years, so
Yep.
I don't know if they're gonna risk
But
that again.
but I will say I think this next pick lines up pretty nicely for you.
Yeah, Joe Alt's a dream fit really here. They need a
Yeah.
wide receiver as well, but I see after the T Higgins trade request this morning, I think T Higgins gonna go team up with his old OC Brian Callahan. They have tons of cap space. I think they're top five in
Yep.
cap space. They can go trade for T Higgins, give him the contract he wants. And I think Will Levis with T. Higgins and a good O line, that could be a good core to build off of. They just got Tony Pollard as well, signed another offensive
Yep.
lineman. So they're building a bit from the ground up right now. But yeah, Joe Alt next to Peter Skoronski, kind of a dream fit. Rebuilding that Tennessee O line that's been a staple for them for the last 20 years.
And also really learning from Skronsky, just how to be an NFL guy. Even
Yeah,
though I think, like I said in our prior draft, that Joel is the most well-rounded at his position, and then like literally the most pro-ready is Joel. So
his
that
bench was
works
a
for
little
me.
disappointing at the combine. He had the same amount of bench presses as Blake Corum, who's a 5'7" running back.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah,
you look at his tape on the field, and you don't have to worry too much.
yeah. I'm not worried about that. I mean, he's got long arms, whatever.
And offensive linemen need strong legs, not strong arms. He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. So I moved to the Falcons. They just got Kirko. Kirko and ATL just feels right. Popping the
That
chains, like
team's
he's
gonna be
just
nice,
laced.
bro. That team's gonna be nice.
Yep, yep. And I think they're another team that's looking for a wide receiver.
Yep.
Um, and so filling out Romo Dunes, best wide receiver on the board,
Yeah.
to the Falcons.
Their core is really filthy right now, and with Drake London being their only wide receiver on roster right now because of
Yep.
the free agents they have, like they love picking skill players at pick 8. They have in the last 3 drafts. Kyle Pitts pick 8, Drake London pick
Yep.
8, Bijan Robinson pick 8, and now here comes another wide receiver pick 8. Like they
Yeah.
got all these top 10 skill players and Big Kirko to feed them the ball. This team's gonna be kind of nice.
Well, hey, yeah, really, really look out for that team to make the big. I think they're going to make the biggest jump out of all of the teams in the top five or the top 10 picks, just because of the amount of young talent that they have and they've built. And now you put a great leader like Kirk Cousins in there. I mean, he's going to find those guys and just develop everybody else while he's balling.
And they have the
So
blessing of playing in the worst division of in football too, so that should be a playoff lock right there.
I'm saying
Like Kirk Cousins, if he wants his Super Bowl, their window's the next couple years. And I mean, I'm gonna miss it
Kirko,
on the
baby.
Vikings, but like the Vikings weren't gonna offer him more than 2 years. He went and got
No.
4 years, which means he's on a contract till he's 39 years old. We weren't gonna
Yep.
offer him more than $35 million a year. They offered him $45 million a year
Yep.
for 4 years. Like I don't blame him for taking that money. Like good for him. Chicago Bears pick 9. I can't think of a blessing that teams have had 2 top 10 picks in the same year. I mean, Texans had it last year. I think they fleeced that trade because they had to give up like pick 27 now to do that.
Yeah.
But the Bears traded Bryce Young for Caleb Williams essentially, which and DJ Moore, which is looking really nice for them right now. And they also have pick 9, another top 10 pick in this draft. They're looking for a wide receiver pretty bad with the top 3 guys gone. I don't know if they'll go here. Brock Bowers would be nice, but they have Cole Kmet, which is another solid player right there. So, with that being said, they need a dude they can put next to Montez Sweat. And the way Dallas Turner tested at the combine, he looked absolutely freaky. The things he was doing, the speed he was running at. Like, I think Dallas Turner and Jared Verse are going to be some studs in the NFL, but Dallas Turner going to Chicago seems like a good fit.
It's a great fit. That defense is going to look good next year. And so, I mean, and you look at the free agents that they just signed.
They brought Jalen
They're
Johnson back.
yeah,
Like
they're
they got
building.
DeAndre Swift. The Chicago Bears are building up right now.
Yeah,
The
they're
NFC North is
building.
getting so stacked.
Yeah, I think the only question now from the Bears is like, what are they going to do with Justin Fields? I mean, there's another team picking here in a few, and that's the Minnesota Vikings, who now have an opening at quarterback. So
I think the
there's an
next
option there.
three
But
picks after this are the most likely for Justin Fields: the Vikings, the Broncos, and the Raiders. But
yeah,
realistically, if JJ McCarthy comes to the Vikings, they're not going to need Fields. So I would love to have Fields, but I mean his contract is going to be bigger than a rookie contract, obviously, and the Vikings don't have a ton of
yeah,
cap. So maybe the Broncos or the Raiders take a splash on him. The Raiders are kind of building up right now too. So
yeah. And so now we move on to the Jets. I think they really need a line to protect Aaron Rodgers. And it's not a super flashy pick, but the highest ceiling, kind of in my opinion, he has all the tools to be a great alignment in the league. So you go, I'm gonna butcher his name, Olamuyiwa Fashanu, dude, Fashanu's going to
Olu
the Jets.
Fashanu, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a stud. I think him or Fuaga seems like a pretty good fit there. Fuaga's more pro ready right now, but Olu definitely has a higher ceiling.
yeah,
With that being
and that's
said,
always and that's always what the Jets do. They always try to go for the high ceiling guys. So if the Jets are gonna pick anybody, it'll be that.
yeah, because they don't win everything this year. Like Aaron Rodgers is going to retire, they're going to go back
Yeah,
into a rebuild again. So they need to
yeah,
win. Pick 11 for the Vikings. I think they're desperate for a quarterback on a rookie contract. They have no money. They
Yeah.
already rebuilt the defense. They're probably going to let Hunter and Wanham walk because they just brought in Jonathan Grenard. So we got our edge rusher one back now. They signed two linebackers. So we have a couple rookie contract corners, safeties. I don't know if Harrison Smith will be back or not, but in the Brian Flores scheme, it's looking to be another top five defense next year. We could go Jared Verse here and just have him and Grenard terrorize people. But like I said, they're desperately in need for a quarterback on a rookie contract. And with JJ McCarthy being here and them not even having to trade up for him, they're going to go with JJ McCarthy here and hopefully find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see McCarthy throw at the pro day or at the combine, and he really balled.
Yeah.
So he really rose on my stock just because we really haven't seen him throw the ball like that. I mean, since he was at IMG.
Yeah, I
So
mean, his scheme in college has just been run, run, run. So people hold that against him, but you go out and see how hard he's throwing at the combine, see with the accuracy he's
yeah,
throwing at the combine. His deep ball looked good. I mean, JJ McCarthy
yeah,
impressed me at the combine. He looks a lot bigger than I thought he was too.
yeah. And in all honesty, being under Harbaugh in the NFL scheme that they run there, so
Yeah,
I think he's more ready than people think, and even myself who really dogged on him the last time we were talking, but yeah, his combine really impressed me.
yeah, he looked nice.
Oh, Denver Broncos. Oh man, they need a quarterback, but there's no quarterback here
For the sake
to
of this
draft.
mock draft, are we imagining the Broncos or the Raiders trade for Fields?
Raiders,
Okay, so Justin Fields is a Raider for the sake of this mock draft.
yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see it.
Um, so, but the Broncos, I've heard like quite a bit that they're really high on Bo Nix,
I've heard that a lot
um,
too.
and I'm really high on Bo Nix too. Um,
I'm a little lower than
but
you,
then,
but I don't hate it.
yeah, but then again, it's like, do you really want to put a rookie quarterback in the situation that they're in? That'd be really what I could really see is I could see them going for the top available to try to fill another need, and then possibly stealing a quarterback like Spencer Rattler later in the rounds.
Yeah.
Just because Spencer Rattler has all the tools, he's just not a first round quarterback in my opinion. Um, so, but with all the chatter that I'm hearing, it's going to be Bo Nix.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a really tough situation for him to come into, especially now that they just traded
Yeah,
away Jerry Judy. Like,
yeah. It'll be just like him going into Auburn.
yeah, I don't think he's ready for another
No,
situation like that right now.
no. But unfortunately, I think that's what's going to happen.
So Brock Bowers slipping a little bit, but another team right here who doesn't really need a tight end. They drafted Michael Mayer in the first round or second round
Yeah,
last year. He looks like he'll be a stud. He just needs a little bit more development. We're imagining Justin Fields is on this team. They just brought in Christian Wilkins, and him and Max Crosby on the same defensive line. Going to be absolutely nasty next year. Patrick Mahomes
yeah,
is not going to want to face this team. Max Crosby has given him trouble his whole career. Now they got Christian Wilkins to plug up the middle. I think that what this team really needs is a lockdown cornerback, someone who can ISO on the wide receiver one on other teams. And
yep.
I think Terry Arnold, his
Terry Arnold.
leadership
Yep.
and stuff, I think he's an Antonio Pierce guy. I think he's just a stud who's going to want to go in and work and work. And I think he's a great fit for the Raiders.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, playing under Nick Saban, being a corner, it just works.
Yeah.
So the Saints, the Saints have quite a few needs that they really need to fill, but uh, you know, I just I have such a hard time seeing them succeed. Like the only time they really succeeded is
Yeah.
when they had Drew Brees and they really had Mark Colston and they were just star studded, but they don't have that anymore. I have a hard time believing in Derek Carr at the moment, but then again, I just don't know if he has the team around him to do so. Um, the defense needs to be filled out, so Latu is going to go to the Saints.
Latu. He's one of the biggest boomer bust guys in my opinion with
Hmm.
his medical concerns and
Yeah,
just kind of like his strength and stuff. But I mean, his skill set is impressive. You see the way he gets after the quarterback. He's quick and stuff. So
yeah,
I think he's a huge boomer bust guy in this draft. But 14 feels like a solid spot for him.
yeah.
Now, pick 15. Anthony Richardson's coming back this year. They just locked up Michael Pittman for the next 3 years.
Do it for the culture.
They got a pretty good defense.
Do it for the
They're gonna
culture.
try and help my boy out. They're bringing in Brock Bowers to the Colts, and this team they're gonna have a scary offense next year. They got a lot of weapons over here. Josh Downs is gonna be on his second year now. This team's gonna be kind of nice.
AR-15 is just absolutely cheering wherever he's going to be for this draft. He's
He's
going nuts.
begging the GM to bring in Brock.
Hmm. Oh yeah. All right. Now Seahawks, another team that like they're decent, but I don't see them going anywhere. However, they need some O line. They really need a quarterback too. I don't think Geno Smith is that good. I think he's overrated for
Yeah.
whatever. So Talius Fuaga to the Seahawks.
Let's see if we'll
Yeah, I think he'll fill out that line nicely. So
Yeah.
he's another guy. He's another guy, kind of like Joe Alt, that's gonna come in and make immediate impact and be good. So
And I'm not 100% what their situation is with tackle versus guard, but with the NFL, the way they work tackles and guards around, they move positions all the time. Just going and get a stud
hmm
player. If they need to put someone on the at guard, put someone at tackle, I'm sure they can work it around and just have a stud up front.
yeah,
Jaguars here. I mean, they're going to lose Calvin Ridley. They're not getting up a second round pick for him. They just
no,
brought in Gabe Davis, which pretty much confirms that Calvin Ridley's gone. So that means they have Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Gabe Davis. I don't really see any of those guys as wide receiver ones. They're all kind of like wide receiver twos, in my opinion.
yeah,
Maybe they'll try and trade Christian Kirk or trade Zay Jones, but it still feels like they need a stud wide receiver to go be that wide receiver one
Duval,
for Trevor Lawrence.
Duval would be punching the air if they trade Christian Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just none of those dudes are real ones. Like they're either small, not good at separating, not great route
Yep,
runners. Like they're not studs. And a dude who completely boosted his draft stock, in my opinion, at the combine, A.D.
yeah,
Mitchell. He went from being possibly outside the first round to a lot of people have him ranked in the top 10 now. I mean, if it wasn't for his teammate Xavier Worthy running a 4.21, people would be looking at this dude who's 6'2", 6'3", who ran a 4.35, won back-to-back championships with Georgia, left Georgia, and then they missed the playoffs. Goes to Texas, they make the playoffs. Like A.D. Mitchell's just a proven winner. He wins at the highest
yep.
level every year, and he's just a huge dude, a quick dude, and he catches everything you throw at him. Like A.D. Mitchell with Trevor Lawrence, that's that size and speed combination that would just fit perfectly with him. Even Calvin Ridley's a little bit smaller than A.D. Mitchell, and I think A.D. Mitchell might even be quicker than him. So it's just a overall improvement to that offense, which they need bad.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys when he calls for the ball, he gets it.
Yeah, his
So,
draft stock skyrocketed at the combine.
yeah. With that being said, down to the Bengals. The Bengals are in need of some D tackle help, which luckily for them, Jared Verse is sitting right here. Dude, put Jared Verse in that defense. I think it's a good pick. Jared Verse, the Bengals.
Yeah, so Jared Verse falls a little bit in this mock draft, but I mean, Bengals, their dream fit would be Brock Bowers. Obviously, he's
Yeah,
gone, and
yeah,
I mean, the offense is gonna click. They got Joe Burrow, they got Jamar Chase. They're chilling. I mean, go get Jared Verse, keep their opposing teams under 17 points, under 24 points. Like they're gonna outscore a
yeah,
lot
no
of the teams
doubt,
they play.
no doubt.
Rams are pretty upset right now. They would have loved to have Jared Verse on their team.
Hmm.
They need a DB pretty bad as well. They have a lot of needs, to be honest. Offensive line, defensive line, DB. I mean,
No, I'm looking at a guy right now that's wide open. And that's just a can't miss guy, in my opinion. Let's see where you go with it.
I don't know. I mean, I feel Cooper DeJean kind of not being able to test at the combine. We're gonna have to wait for his pro day a little bit more, see what happens. He's a stud, but I mean, he broke his leg. He snapped that shit in half. We're gonna have to see a little bit more from him. Byron Murphy and Drazon Newton, Johnny Newton, they're pretty similar in my mind. Byron Murphy had a very good combine as well. He just looked like an athlete out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And they could also be in line for one of these tackles. Still quite a few good tackles left on the board. I just think putting a guy next to Aaron Donald on the defense that they're going to need bad, getting Byron Murphy the second there, I think they need
Okay.
defense pretty bad, and I think that's going to help them out.
So, are you going with there, Byron Murphy?
Yeah, Byron Murphy the second.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like a Nate Wiggins type. Nate Wiggins would have been pretty dirty on that defense,
Nate Wiggins was quick,
but
but we saw him pull his groin running one time he ran at the combine. That's a little
yeah,
sketchy. I mean, I know he wants to be an outside player, but he's like 165 pounds. We saw what
Yep.
happened with Emmanuel Forbes on the Commanders this year. Another quick
Yep.
dude that they drafted in the first round, a little undersized, just like Nate Wiggins. He got bodied
Hmm.
on the outside. AJ Brown had like 300 yards in one game against him. He's gonna have to put on a little bit
Yeah.
of weight, help
Hmm.
with these injury concerns. But yeah, I think Nate Wiggins would be kind of nice.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, moving on to the Steelers. The Steelers need offensive line, corner, um, but I think with Nate Wiggins being on the board, Nate Wiggins to the Steelers.
Yep. I mean, like we said, he's quick. He's a stud. Lockdown
Yeah.
corner. I mean, putting on size. It's not like a skill set issue. He can just go literally work out, put on size, and then he'll be a great NFL fit.
Yeah.
All right. Dolphins. They need interior offensive line pretty badly, but I mean they also just lost Christian Wilkins, so they need a defensive tackle pretty bad. So
Yeah.
between these two dudes here, we got Johnny Newton and we got Jackson Powers Johnson. I think either of them would be a pretty good fit. But their offense, not a huge concern. They got all the weapons around. They got Tua. They got Achan in the backfield. And they obviously have their star receivers. Their defense is going to be the problem next year now that they lost Wilkins. And I think kind of going to have to take a flyer now on Johnny Newton and hope he develops because I know he's a little bit undersized. He didn't test at the combine. But if you go look at his film, he was a beast this year. Like he was pretty dominant on all fronts, and you're just gonna have to hope what you saw on tape translates to NFL level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Johnny Newton. He was another guy that I had. I think I had him pretty high ranked in my last mock draft, and I'm pretty high on him. I think he's going to be really good. But yeah, he kind of fell for me. Just kind of seeing him against the other guys in the combine. The other guys were just better
Yeah.
by quite a bit. So, but still, I think pretty good pick for the Dolphins there. Now on the Eagles, those damn Eagles that got Saquon Barkley this morning. Uh,
Jeez.
that's just not even going to be fair.
No.
They're another team that needs a corner. Their defense wasn't as good as it's been. So, um, but then again, most of these guys are gone. I think they're a good versatile defense. So I think we could see Cooper DeJean slide in here to the Eagles. I think they're pretty happy with that pick. Um, seeing the successes that other guys have had, they're similar to his build and his style there in Philly. So Cooper DeJean to the Eagles.
Yeah, I think the two best fits for Cooper DeJean in this draft are going to be either Eagles or Packers. Packers a little bit more now because
Yeah.
they lost Darnell Savage to the Jaguars, and Cooper DeJean can play safety if they need him to.
Yep.
So I think those two teams. But I mean, the Eagles were also pass funnel last year. Cooper DeJean can do it all for them. I think that's going
Yeah,
to help them
and,
out
and
a lot.
then again, I could also see Jackson Powers Johnson going to that pick, just because they got to replace Kelsey, and I think having a lot of leaders on that line could help Powers Johnson really develop fast.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine with the O line though. I'm pretty sure
Yep.
Jurgensen or someone's gonna shift over to center. They
Hmm.
still got tons of studs on that O line. With Howie Roseman, he likes to plan things a year or two ahead. He always has backups in plan. They drafted Jason
Yeah.
Kelsey's replacement like 2 years ago. They're probably
Yep.
gonna draft Lane Johnson's replacement next year. Like they're gonna always have their players ready to be in place.
Yep.
Another dude who I thought went kind of stupid at the combine, improved his draft stock quite a bit. Brian Thomas Jr., who's going to be that alpha in the room for the Texans. I think
Yeah.
with that size and speed combination, him, Tank Dell in his second year being healthy, and having um, Nico Collins, CJ Stroud obviously stud, Will Anderson stud. Like they can address defense later because I know they just lost Jonathan Grenard to the Vikings. But with the options available, I mean, you just got to go Brian Thomas Jr. here. Give him the alpha on offense.
100%, no doubt. I would have really liked to see Saquon go to the
I
Texans.
know that was my dream fit for him.
Oh, I think that was a dream fit for a lot of fans. Just wanting to watch the game and seeing the Texans win is fun. Like whenever J.J. Watt was balling out with that J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, that great defense that they had, that was so much fun to watch.
Yeah,
So
Texans are America's team now. Everyone get out of here with that Cowboys talk. You know we're all rooting for CJ Stroud right now.
that part for real. Speaking of America's team, uh, in
Yep.
all reality, I think they need to start building some more O line. J.C. Latham fell pretty good, so J.C. Latham to the Cowboys.
J.C. Latham to the Cowboys.
Yep, I
Uh,
like J.C. Latham.
just a little quick free agency update while we're here. We got Jeff Okuda, DB from the Lions. and I think he played for the Falcons this past year. He's going to the Texans,
Yeah.
so the Texans address some DB help.
There we go.
We have um, Xavier McKinney, the Giants' young safety, who's kind of a stud. He
Yep.
goes to the Packers, so they're not necessarily in a huge need for Cooper DeJean anymore. They just got
Yep.
Xavier McKinney.
Yep.
And the Giants replaced Saquon with Devin Singletary from the
From the
Texans.
Texans. Yeah. So now the Texans have a big hole at running back, which I think they might fill either in free agency or
Maybe
I
they get Trey
guess.
Benson this next round.
Well, then again, they still have Damian Pierce, so maybe they move Damian Pierce into that one spot because
Gosh,
he's been good.
Damian Pierce is just so confusing to me. I know his rookie year, he was on my fantasy squad. He was a stud, bro. I saw all of his games. He was going nuts every year, and this is without
Yeah,
CJ. And then they go get a raw passing offense, and Damian Pierce just it seemed like he got stuffed at the line every year. Like I don't know what happened. Hopefully he has a bounce back year.
yeah, I hope so. I'm a big fan of Damian Pierce. So
So with that being said, Packers aren't necessarily in need of a cornerback anymore, and
um,
they don't need a running back anymore because they also got Josh Jacobs this morning. So that's going to be
or
kind of
Cooper
freaky.
DeJean.
Josh Jacobs going to the Packers. That's going to be nasty. They have a good defense
Hmm.
now. The Packers' young core is absolutely filthy. Like I said, the NFC North just going to be absolutely menacing for the next 10 years. We already have the Lions, who obviously have this really good young core. Packers have one of the best young cores in the league. And now the Bears have the number one overall pick in the best core. Like Vikings going to have some serious top 10 picks over the next couple of years. Like that's all I got to say.
Yeah,
But their main need now is tackle. A lot of these tackles started to kind of fall in this draft we got right now. I think Amarius Mims, if he would have waited another year to come out, would have been a top five pick, maybe top three pick. I don't
yeah,
really know why he came out this early, unless his agent came up to him and told him, "Hey, you're going to be a first round pick. You don't want to risk another injury in college."
yeah.
Like that
Just
makes
take it.
sense. Just go in the first round, get your money, and see what you can do with that. But Amarius Mims probably has the most room for development out of all these dudes. He's huge. He's a stud, and we saw him run, and he looked pretty quick for his size as well. So I think
Hmm.
Amarius Mims to go add to that young core in Green Bay. Like they love their young dudes, and
Yep,
I think that's gonna be a good fit right there too.
yep. And so on to the Buccaneers. This guy, he busted one of my parlays on the combine. I mean, it's just kind of random. So throw a little $5 down, but I was happy to see it. Chop Robinson going to the Buccaneers. That guy's fast. He dominates off the edge. I think he's a really difference maker for the Buccaneers.
Did you take his over?
I did take his over.
Yeah, bro. He's a stud. He's an athlete, bro.
I mean, it was 4-5-1, and then so I took the over. I was like, no way,
You're
no
like,
way,
ain't no way this
edge
big
rusher.
ass dude's gonna go run a
I'm
four
saying,
five one, bro.
but he went out there and ran a 4.49. So
Yeah, when you see this 300-pound dude running a faster 40-yard dash than Keon Coleman, that
yeah,
just looks scary, bro.
but I've always been high on Chop Robinson. I've seen him play throughout the years, and he's just really, really good. So like
Yeah,
even our last one, I had him in the first round. So I'm going to the
yeah.
first round just a little bit higher this time.
I mean, athletic ability translates to the NFL in every situation. The problem with
Yep.
Chop is he doesn't have a lot of tape against NFL talent because he
Yeah.
got hurt in the Ohio State game, so I think he only played like 9 snaps in that game. The Michigan
Hmm.
game, he only played uh, I think 10 snaps. Like the two main teams they played against,
Yeah.
Chop Robinson was out majority of the game.
Yeah.
So, but I
But I
mean,
think I think in all honesty, that's the only reason he's even down in the 20s right now.
yeah,
Because if he has a fully healthy year and he dominates against those teams,
yep,
we're seeing him go. He's above the. Jared Verse had a great year. Dallas Turner had a great year, but Chop Robinson has the most physical tools.
yep.
That he's just a freak. So
If there was a little bit more film on Chop Robinson, he'd definitely be up there with those two.
yeah,
Now the Cardinals, they had their dream fit with Marvin Harrison Jr. pick four. Now another team that's in need of offensive lineman, defensive back.
yeah,
I think Graham Barton. I know he's a tackle, but he can slide inside, which is what they really need. Graham Barton's played some inside, and he looked pretty good at it. Kool Aid McKinstry would be a good fit for this team. I think it's a little sketch that they found the break in his foot at the combine, and he's been known for taking plays off. Now he has a broken foot that nobody knew about. I mean,
yeah.
there's just some red flags there.
Bye bye first round.
I mean, there's a few more good DBs down this list. Kamari Lassiter, I think, could be a big name.
Kool Aid McKinstry was another big name at the beginning of the year. He's kind
He
of fallen off a little bit.
he was a projected top 10 pick going into the year, and I know
Yeah,
you can't really blame him for taking plays off, Like
Yeah.
they did not throw at Kool-Aid McKinstry at all this year. Like
Mm-mm.
they threw to the other side of the field, which unfortunately for those teams had Terry Arnold on it. So Terry
Yeah.
Arnold has a lot of film this year of just having pass breakups and interceptions and stuff. But when you can only throw to half the field because Kool-Aid McKinstry's clogging up the other side, I mean,
Yeah. Terry and Arnold really reaped the rewards of not throwing at Kool-Aid.
yeah, actually. So I think the two main picks here are probably going to be Troy Fautanu or Grant Barton because I think both of them are going to be able to slide to guard in the NFL. I just
Yeah.
think Troy Fautanu is a more natural tackle, and I think Graham Barton's a more natural guard, which is kind of what they need. So I think Graham Barton's going to be a good fit for the Cardinals.
Yeah. With the Bills, so I think the Bills are going to go after another wide receiver just because this is such a deep class. I think I have Xavier Worthy going to the Bills, just adding the speed to that wide receiving core. I mean, Josh Allen's just going to throw it and bucket. He's up there somewhere. So another guy we can see going in there is Keon Coleman, though. So keep your eyes out for Keon Coleman to the Bills. However, Xavier Worthy going to
Yeah,
Bills.
I mean they need a speed replacement because they just lost Gabe
Yep.
Davis, who was their deep threat. So
Yep.
it's a good fit. They already have Stephon Diggs. So
Hmm.
now another team that needs interior offensive line, defensive back. They also need safety help, but I don't think there's any first round safeties in this class. They're not super big studs. I mean, I can see this being a trade out spot here. I mean, just like the
Yeah.
players here, it doesn't really feel like the Lions would be super interested in any of them. But I think a dude who is kind of a stud at the combine, Darius Robinson. I don't know if they'll go him either. He's huge and he has a lot of good film on him too. But like I said earlier, Troy Fautanu can slide inside to guard. They need guard, and ooh, they also need center. Jackson Powers Johnson fell though.
Hmm.
I think they're gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson here. He's fallen
Yeah.
quite a bit. I think he's a first round player.
Yeah. He's the best talent on the inside in my opinion, as far as all these guys go. And he's also a guy who's pretty versatile. I think if center doesn't work out, but I think it will. He can play other positions. So now we get to pretty much like the three luckiest teams in this draft, just because of how deep certain spots are.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So the Ravens' biggest need is a running back. However, they have a running back and quarterback. So um, there's a few wide receivers here that I think are really good. So like I said, I think Keon Coleman, I see him in the late first round, early second round. Um, but with Zay Flowers really having so many issues off the field, you've got to get a receiver in there just to have like literally just depth. So Keon Coleman to the Ravens.
yeah, I think that's a great fit, and I think the Chiefs are kind of mad
Yeah,
too because with the way the board's panned out, I think Chiefs would love to have a Keon Coleman type dude. I know
yeah.
people like
Well,
to
all these wide
clown.
receivers are falling off the board, and that's what they need. So
Yeah, I know people like to clown on his 40 time, but there's a difference between straight line speed and then game speed.
game
I
speed.
think uh, who was it? Troy Franklin ran like zero point 0.4 seconds faster, 0.3 seconds faster or something at the
Hmm.
40-yard dash. But if you look at the gauntlet drill they were doing, Keon Coleman was
Yeah,
going 5 miles an hour faster than Troy Franklin. Troy Franklin was at 15 miles an hour. Keon's at 20 miles an hour while catching every ball thrown his way. Like his game speed's crazy. He has insane hands. Like Keon Coleman's a
yeah,
very NFL ready dude. I don't like a lot of his off the field antics. He does a lot of I'm trying to be a thug type thing, which with what's going on with Zay Flowers right now, the Ravens might shy a little away from. But
yeah.
just Odell likely to go to the Jets, which in my opinion, I
Great
think Keon
pick.
Coleman's gonna be a good fit.
Yeah,
Yeah, so 49ers, they need a tackle really bad. They're going to need to replace Trent Williams probably in a year or two. So whether they develop this guy for a year or throw him in right now and then shift him to the other side when Trent Williams retires, I think Tyler Guyton has all the tools to succeed in the NFL. He's
love
big,
that.
he's fast, and they need tackle bad. So Tyler Guyton kind of falls into their lap there.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I mean, now moving on to the Chiefs. Like I said, they need receivers. Ladd McConkey was so impressive. And he's a guy that has just really high IQ. Um, just a guy that really he plays the game the right way. Um, uh, However, the scheme fit, I don't know how it works with Lad McConkey. Um, but he is the best receiver on the board. Chiefs need a receiver, so Lad McConkey to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think there's a couple fits there. They got Ladd McConkey, they got Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall, Troy Franklin. I mean, you just watched the last couple years what Ladd's done. You saw what he did at the combine too. This man is so twitchy. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna have the bubble routes for Rasheed Rice. They're gonna have the slants for Rasheed Rice. But Ladd
Yeah.
McConkey just he burns everybody with his route running. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great pick for them right there. They're a little upset because the way the draft panned out with the receivers. If A.D. Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, these dudes don't boost their draft stock like that at the combine, I think they would
Hmm.
love to have one of those guys. But Ladd McConkey, there's nothing to
Oh,
be too mad about there.
hey, I'm seeing right here the Ravens re-signed Nelson Aguilar, so that's big for them.
Oh wow! And Gus Edwards
Yeah.
just went to the Chargers. He goes from John Harbaugh to Jim
Yeah.
Harbaugh.
Well, here before we end this thing, let's look through some of the free agency tracker here. Just kind of like the big news. Um, I mean, obviously, I think we've been through quite a bit. So the Steelers filled, Russell Wilson at quarterback.
On a rookie,
I
on a
think,
vet minimum too, $1 million contract, which is gonna let them build out the
yeah,
roster. So that's really gonna help them.
right. Well, obviously, Russell Wilson don't need no money.
Yeah, he's already getting paid $40 million by the Broncos this year.
Yeah, the Texans re-signed Dalton Schultz for 3 years, 36 mil. I think it's a pretty high contract for him. Just because I want to see more from him. Obviously, Okuda we talked about signed, and Danico Autry to the Texans, filling out the D line there.
I think Jonathan
So they've
Grenard to the
already got the
Vikings is
replacement.
huge too.
Yes, they've already got the replacement for Grenard.
Christian Wilkins, as we mentioned, to the Raiders, it's going to be huge for them.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have going on here? Some big names.
Well, Gabe Davis went to the Jags.
Yep.
So
Jonnu Smith to the Dolphins. It's going to be their tight end now that they've been needing. I mean, Jonnu looked good for the Falcons last year, so
I think we hit on that Tony Pollard went to the Titans.
Jets have really done nothing. I don't know what the Jets are
Mm-hmm.
doing. T. Higgins requesting a trade. Yet to be seen what we're going to get there.
Christian Wilkins signing with Vegas.
Jerry Judy being traded to the Browns for pretty much nothing. I think that's going to be a steal for the Browns.
You know,
Jeff
the
Okuda.
Cowboys haven't done anything either. So
Yeah, we're probably looking draft. I mean, they got to
yeah,
extend Dak this year, CeeDee Lamb at some point, and then Micah Parsons next year. They're not going to have any money. Like, they got to pay three huge contracts pretty soon
yeah. I'm seeing here the Eagles are reportedly will pursue Xavier McKinney.
here. Xavier
So
McKinney went to the
that's
Packers.
okay. Yep. So he signed that already.
Uh, Josh Allen being franchise tagged. I know that was a little bit ago, but that's going to help the Jaguars a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Yep. Kevin Byard to the Bears. Byard, Swift, Jalen Johnson. That's what they're
NFC
filling
North is
out for the
building up.
Bears.
Chris
Yep.
Jones signing that huge contract for the Chiefs. Snead gets tagged, but it looks like Snead's also going to get traded. So whether that's going to be a
Yep.
second round or third round pick, maybe a first round pick, but probably not.
Yep.
We'll see
Yep.
what team
Okay,
goes for
so the
Snead.
Vikings did a little bit more than I thought. So they picked up Grenard, obviously. They picked up Andrew Van Ginkel, fill out their linebacker spot, and
Yeah,
Blake Cashman.
for another linebacker. So
So
yeah, our defense is built out again.
yep. The Falcons re-signed Charlie Werner. I think they really need to move Pitts back out to wide receiver, in my opinion.
Kyle Pitts
Yep.
at wide receiver.
I like obviously like a still like a hybrid spot, but try to find a matchup for him.
Interesting. Obviously, Kirk Cousins, biggest free agent, going to the Falcons. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
huge. Brian Burns got tagged, but we'll see if he gets traded.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield, the three big guys from Bucks, all back in Tampa this year.
Cardinals are solidifying their defense with Sean Murphy Bunting at corner.
Yep, yeah, the big names here. No, that's pretty much it. But yeah, there's still some
Yeah.
free agency to be seen. Draft is coming
Yep.
up, but yeah,
Yeah, it's getting exciting. It's
NFL
getting
shaking
exciting.
up today for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, that's pretty much it there. If you guys would like and subscribe, it really means a lot to us. Help us boost the channel. You want to share it with
Sure.
your friends? Go ahead and let us know down in the comments what picks you disagree with. We know you're hating some of these. Everybody hates every pick in a mock draft. That's just what happens. I'm not gonna make everybody happy, but let us know what we should change for next time. We'll let you know if we agree or disagree. Yeah.